My beloved son and daughter, today, I want to reveal something to you that has been a barrier between us, something that has silenced my voice in your life. Have you ever wondered why it sometimes seems so difficult to hear me? I want to show you 6 reasons that might be preventing you from hearing my voice clearly. But not only that, I want to guide you so that we can remove these barriers together. Stay with me until the end of this video, because I have prepared a special surprise for you that you can only receive if you truly love me and stay until the end. This surprise can transform your life and your relationship with me in ways you cannot even imagine. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I invite you to do so now. Like this video, share it with those you love, and become a channel member so we can walk together every day. Activate the notification bell because every day I have a new message for your heart. And don't forget to leave your reflections and what you learned today in the comments, because I am always attentive to your words. I want to hear you just as you desire to hear me. Reason 1. Worldly distractions. My beloved sons and daughters, you often find yourselves immersed in a world that demands your attention in every possible way. The bright lights, loud voices, and constant demands of daily life surround you like a cloak, diverting your focus from me. These constant noises and distractions, which often seem so harmless, end up drowning out my voice, the still, small voice that seeks to guide you on the path of peace and truth. When you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is look at what the world has to offer. Its news, its social media, its responsibilities. But my precious son, my precious daughter, where am I in that equation? Where is the time dedicated to me, so that I can whisper to your heart the words of love and direction you so desperately need? The world is a stormy sea, and if you don't hold on to the anchor that I am, you will be swept away by the waves of worry, fear, and confusion. You rush from one place to another, trying to meet all the demands imposed on you. Work, family, social commitments, all these compete for your time and attention. But, my children, don't you realize that by allowing these things to dominate your time, you are leaving little room for me? When the world takes first and last place in your days, you end up pushing me to the margins of your life, where my voice becomes just a barely perceptible whisper. My voice does not rise above the noise. It waits to be heard in moments of stillness. But if you constantly allow yourself to be distracted, how will you hear me? My beloved, the world will always offer something new, something to capture your attention and keep you busy. But these distractions are fleeting and often empty. They promise satisfaction but leave a void in your soul, a void that only I can fill. I ask you to pause for a moment and reflect. How much of your time is consumed by these distractions? How many times have you ignored my voice because you were too busy with the things of this world? My desire is that you learn to discern what truly matters, that you find the balance between your responsibilities and your time with me. For it is in me that you will find true peace, a peace that the world cannot offer. As the world continues to spin, with its lights and sounds, I call you to a place of rest in my presence. I want you to know that you don't have to be consumed by everything the world offers you. There is a place in my heart where you can find refuge and strength. But to enter this place, you must learn to push away the distractions, to close your eyes to what the world considers urgent, and open your ears to what I have to say. You who feel tired and burdened, come to me, and I will give you rest. Rest from all the things that take away your peace, that rob you of the joy of knowing me more deeply. For the world cannot give you what I offer, a peace that surpasses all understanding, a joy that cannot be shaken by circumstances. My precious children, understand that distractions are not only external but often internal as well. Your thoughts, your worries, your anxieties, all these things can distract you from me. The outside world may be silent, but if your minds are full of worries, you will still not be able to hear my voice. Therefore, it is important that you also seek inner peace, that you cast all your anxieties upon me, for I care for you. When you do this, when you choose to push away the distractions and seek my presence, something wonderful happens. You begin to hear me clearly. My voice becomes like a spring of living water, refreshing your weary souls, and no matter what the world is doing around you, you will be at peace because you are with me. Now, sons and daughters, I encourage you to make a conscious choice. Choose me above distractions. Set aside time each day to be with me, to hear what I have to say. Do not let the world dictate your priorities. Instead, let it be my voice that guides your steps. Because when you make me your priority, everything else aligns in its proper place. And if these words have found a place in your heart, leave a comment. Lord, I choose to listen to you above the world. Reason 2. Lack of time in prayer. My beloved sons and daughters, you often cry out for direction, for comfort, for answers to the doubts and challenges you face. But despite this yearning for my presence, many of you have neglected the time of prayer, allowing the pressures and demands of daily life to take the place that should be reserved for our meeting. This is one of the reasons why you cannot hear my voice clearly. Understand that prayer is the foundation of our relationship. It is through prayer that you draw close to me, that you open your hearts so that I can fill them with my wisdom, peace, and love. But when time for prayer is neglected, you drift away, and my voice begins to seem distant, like a faint echo that can barely be discerned. The enemy knows that prayer is powerful, and that is why he does everything to distract you, to convince you that there is not enough time, that your responsibilities are more urgent. He whispers that you can pray later when things are less hectic. But, my beloved, how many times does that later never come? How many times does the time pass and you realize that you did not set aside even a moment to speak with me? The lack of time in prayer not only silences my voice in your lives, but also weakens your soul. You begin to feel empty, overwhelmed, as if something essential is missing. This happens because, without prayer, you are trying to live by your own strength, without the spiritual nourishment that I desire to give you each day. And how can you hear me if you do not stop to listen? How can you be guided by me if you do not connect with me through prayer? Prayer is more than just asking for what you need. It is a moment of communion, of relationship. It is in prayer that you find the peace the world cannot offer, the wisdom to make decisions, the strength to face challenges. When you pray, your heart's open to receive my grace, and your faith is strengthened. But when you stop praying, this connection weakens, and your spiritual life begins to wither, like a plant that does not receive water. My beloved sons and daughters, I know every detail of your life. I know that you often feel overwhelmed, pressed for time. But I want you to understand that the time spent in prayer is never time wasted. On the contrary, it is the most valuable time you can dedicate. For it is in this moment that I can minister to your hearts, that I can speak to you clearly and deeply. You may think that you do not have time to pray, but I say, you do not have time not to pray. The busier and more pressed you are, the more you need my guidance, my peace, my voice guiding you. It is in prayer that you find refuge and rest, that you recharge your strength to face the day. If you set prayer aside, you are setting aside my presence, and without me, you can do nothing. Therefore, my precious children, I invite you to reorganize your lives, to place prayer at the center of everything you do. Do not wait until everything is calm and in order to pray, because that moment may never come. Instead, prioritize prayer, even in the midst of the rush. Find me in the small moments of the day, upon waking, before sleeping, in the intervals between your tasks. And most importantly, establish a fixed time, a sacred moment, where nothing else matters but being with me. Remember that prayer does not need to be long or complicated to be effective. It can be a simple conversation, an opening of the heart, a moment of gratitude. What matters is not the number of words, but the sincerity and frequency with which you approach me. The more you pray, the more sensitive you will become to my voice. It will cease to be a distant whisper and will become a constant guide, an unmistakable presence in your lives. If you desire to hear me clearly, start by dedicating time to prayer. Make it your priority, and you will see the difference it will make in your life. When you put prayer first and everything else aligns, you begin to see situations from my perspective. You begin to feel my peace even in the storms, and above all, you begin to hear my voice, clear and strong, guiding you in every step. And if these words touched your heart, and you desire to dedicate more time to prayer and to hear my voice, leave a comment. Lord, I choose to seek you in prayer every day. Reason 3. Doubt and unbelief. My precious sons and daughters, doubts and questions often arise in your hearts. You wonder if I am truly with you, if I hear your prayers, if my love for you is as great as I say. These doubts often stem from difficult moments, from prayers not answered in the way you expected, from situations that seem unsolvable. But I want you to understand that these doubts can become a barrier that prevents you from hearing my voice. Doubt is like a dense fog that settles in your hearts and minds, obscuring the clarity of my presence. It feeds on unbelief, growing whenever you allow questions to overpower faith. But as He, my beloved, I am the light that dispels all fog. I am the truth that clarifies all uncertainty. When you allow doubt to rule, it is as if you are erecting a wall that blocks my voice, preventing it from reaching your hearts. I know that life often presents challenges that seem contrary to the promises I have made. I know there are moments when pain, suffering, and loss make you question my goodness and my plan. But I want you to know that even in the most difficult circumstances, I am with you. Even when you don't understand what is happening, even when it seems that I am silent, I am working for your good. However, when doubts arise, you need to learn to combat them with faith. You need to remember the times I have already proven my faithfulness, the promises I have already fulfilled in your lives. For when you cling to doubt, you move away from me. It is like Peter, who walked on water while keeping his eyes fixed on me, but began to sink when he looked at the wind and the waves. My beloved, if you keep your eyes fixed on me, no doubt can prevail. Unbelief, on the other hand, is a poison that contaminates the soul, undermining the ability to trust in me. When you allow unbelief to take root, you begin to question not only my presence, but also my power, my love, and my promises. Unbelief is dangerous because it not only prevents you from hearing my voice, but also distances you from me, leading you to trust more in your own strength than in mine. I want you to know that I understand your doubts. I understand the moments of unbelief. But I also want you to know that to hear my voice clearly, you must trust. You must believe, even when you cannot see the path ahead. Faith is the key that opens spiritual ears, that allows you to discern my voice amidst the chaos and confusion of the world. When you doubt, it is as if you are placing a veil between us, a veil that distorts my voice, making it difficult to understand. But when you choose to believe, even amid uncertainties, that veil is torn, and you begin to hear me clearly again. My voice becomes a beacon, guiding you even in the darkest nights, offering you the assurance that you are not alone, that I am with you every step of the way. My children, it is normal for you to sometimes feel weak, to have moments of doubt. But I tell you, come to me with your doubts, with your questions. Do not hold them back. Do not let them grow in your hearts like weeds. Bring them before me, and let me answer them, for I am the way, the truth, and the life. And in me, there is no place for confusion or uncertainty. You need to understand that doubt is not a sin, but allowing it to turn into unbelief is dangerous. That is why I ask that whenever you feel overwhelmed by doubts, turn to me, read my promises in the Word, remember the times I have been faithful, and let these truths strengthen your faith. Because faith comes by hearing, and hearing my word is the antidote to the doubts the enemy tries to plant in your hearts. I have not abandoned you, even when it seems that I am distant. I have not stopped loving you, even when circumstances are difficult. And even if you do not understand now, trust that I am working for your good. My promises are true, and my word never fails. If you desire to hear my voice, you must choose to trust. You must choose to believe that I am faithful and that I am with you. My precious children, I know it is not always easy to believe, especially when everything around you seems contrary. But it is in those moments that faith becomes most precious, that the choice to believe is most powerful. I call you to be like Abraham, who believed against all hope and was justified by his faith. If you choose to believe, even when you do not understand, you will see my mighty hand at work in your lives, and you will hear my voice guiding you clearly. And if these words touched your heart, and you choose to believe and trust in me, leave a comment. Lord, I trust in you, even in uncertainties. Reason 4. A heart hardened by sin. My dear sons and daughters, sin is like a shadow that can, when left unchecked, obscures the light in your hearts. It hardens your souls, creating a barrier between us, making it difficult for you to hear my voice. A heart hardened by sin not only distances you from me, but also keeps you from the fullness of life that I desire for each of you. Sin does not only manifest in great transgressions, but also in attitudes and thoughts that, little by little, steal the purity and sensitivity of your hearts. When you allow sin to dwell in your lives, you are allowing your heart to become insensitive. It is like a stone that, over time, becomes increasingly difficult to break. Sin is deceptive. It whispers that small things don't matter, that the choices you make in your daily life don't affect your relationship with me. But I tell you, my beloved, that it is in the small choices that the heart begins to harden, that the distance between us begins to widen. I created you with sensitive hearts, capable of love, of feeling, of discerning good from evil. But sin is like a layer of ice that forms over that heart, preventing you from feeling my presence, from hearing my voice clearly. And the longer you let sin remain, the thicker this ice becomes, the harder it is to break through that barrier. You begin to distance yourself from me, to feel that I am far away, when in reality, I am waiting for you to return, to repent, to allow me to melt that ice with the warmth of my love. Repentance is the way back to me. It is the hammer that breaks the stone of a hardened heart. It is the fire that melts the ice of sin. I do not desire for any of you to live far from me, with insensitive and hardened hearts. I long for your company, for an intimate and deep relationship with each of you. But this is only possible when you recognize the sin in your lives, when you turn to me with sincerity and humility, asking me to cleanse your hearts. My children, I know every sin you commit. Nothing is hidden from me. But I do not love you any less because of it. On the contrary, I love you with an incomprehensible love, a love that desires to see you free, with pure hearts, sensitive to my voice. I want you to know that there is no sin so great that I cannot forgive, no heart so hardened that I cannot restore. All you need to do is turn to me with genuine repentance, and I will do the rest. When you allow sin to harden your hearts, you lose spiritual sensitivity. You begin to justify your actions, to rationalize what you know is wrong. But this only deepens the chasm between us, making it increasingly difficult for you to discern my voice amidst the noise of the world and your own thoughts. Sin is a thief. It steals your peace, your joy, your communion with me. And when it hardens your hearts, you become vulnerable to even more deception, to even more sin. I call you, my precious sons and daughters, to examine your hearts. Ask me to show you where sin has been hiding, where it has been hardening your souls. Do not let pride, shame, or fear keep you from drawing near to me, for I am a loving Father, always ready to forgive, always ready to restore. I desire to heal your hearts, to uproot every root of sin, and to give you a new heart, a heart of flesh, sensitive to my presence. Those who recognize their sin and turn to me with sincerity are not only forgiven, but are renewed. They experience a freedom and peace that the world cannot offer. They begin to hear my voice again, clear and strong, because there are no longer any barriers between us. Sin, when confessed and forsaken, no longer has the power to harden the heart. Instead, my love takes its place, bringing life, sensitivity, and a deep desire to live in obedience and communion with me. My beloved, do not let sin keep you in a cycle of hardness. I am here, always ready to forgive, always ready to restore. All you need to do is take the first step to recognize where you have fallen, where you have allowed sin to take space in your hearts. And when you do, I will be there, with open arms, ready to receive you, ready to heal you, and to make your hearts beat again with life and sensitivity. You were not created to live with hardened hearts. You were created to live in full communion with me, with hearts that hear and respond to my voice. If today you feel distant, if you feel that you can no longer hear me as before, look within yourself and see if there is something that needs to be given to me, something that needs to be confessed and forsaken. I promise that if you do, I will restore your spiritual sensitivity, and you will hear me as never before. And if these words spoke to your heart, and you desire me to remove all hardness caused by sin, leave a comment. Lord, I surrender my heart to you. Restore in me a spirit sensitive to you. Reason 5. Unforgiveness. My beloved sons and daughters, forgiveness is one of the most important pillars of the relationship between you and me, as well as between you and your fellow human beings. When you harbor grudges, resentment, and refuse to forgive, you create a barrier that not only affects your heart, but also prevents my voice from reaching you clearly and deeply. Unforgiveness is like a poison that corrodes your souls, hardening them and distancing them from the peace I desire to give. When you hold on to resentment, it is as if you are carrying an invisible weight, a burden that becomes heavier and heavier over time. This weight not only steals your joy but also muffles my voice. You pray, seek answers, but feel that you cannot hear me. And often, the reason lies in your heart that refuses to release forgiveness. A heart that does not forgive becomes closed, hardened, unable to fully receive the love and direction I desire to give. I know that forgiveness is not easy. I know that there are wounds that seem impossible to heal, offenses that seem difficult to forget. But my children, forgiveness is not a choice based on feelings. It is a decision to obey my command, to release those who have hurt you into my hands. When you hold on to unforgiveness, you are allowing the offender to continue exercising power over you, and this prevents you from moving forward, from growing spiritually. Understand that forgiveness does not mean that you are justifying the wrong that was done against you. It does not mean that you are saying that the pain you suffered doesn't matter. On the contrary, it means that you are choosing to trust me to bring justice and healing, that you are handing that pain into my hands so that I can work in your hearts and also in the lives of those who hurt you. When you forgive, you are freeing yourself, allowing your heart to open again to hear my voice and to receive the peace that I offer. My precious sons and daughters, I have forgiven you for everything, and I continue to forgive you every time you fall and turn back to me. I ask you to do the same for others. I know there are deep hurts, that there are wounds that seem incurable, but I am the God who heals. I am the one who can restore what has been broken. But for this healing to begin, it is necessary for you to take the first step, to choose to forgive, even if your feelings are still hurt. The act of forgiving is liberating. When you choose to forgive, even if it is difficult, your hearts begin to open again. My voice, which once seemed distant, begins to become clear and audible. You begin to feel my presence in a deeper way, because forgiveness removes the barrier that prevented our full communion. Forgiveness is not only a gift you give to others, it is a gift you give to yourself, opening the way for me to work in your lives in a complete way. When you harbor unforgiveness, resentment and bitterness begin to take root in your hearts, turning them into hard and infertile soil, where my word has difficulty penetrating. You may pray, you may seek me, but the echo of bitterness distorts my voice. This is because unforgiveness is contrary to my nature. It is contrary to the love I so desire for you to practice. You are called to love as I have loved, and forgiveness is a supreme expression of that love. I tell you, my children, that forgiveness is not optional. It is essential for your spiritual well-being. You cannot grow in me while holding on to grudges and resentment in your hearts. When I was on the cross, in the midst of pain and suffering, I asked the Father to forgive those who crucified me. I did this to show you that love and forgiveness are stronger than hatred and revenge. I did this to be the example of how you should act, even in the face of the greatest injustices. You may wonder how to forgive someone who has caused so much pain. I tell you, do not try to do it alone. Come to me. Bring me your pain, your tears, your anger. Let me help you forgive. Let my love fill the gaps left by resentment. Forgiveness may not happen all at once. It may be a process. But every step you take in that direction is a step toward freedom and peace. Unforgiveness not only affects your relationship with me, it affects every area of your life. It can poison your relationships with others. It can steal your joy. It can obscure your spiritual vision. But when you choose to forgive, even if it seems difficult, you are opening the door to complete renewal. You are allowing light to enter your life again, for my voice to be heard clearly, and for true love to flourish. My precious children, if there is someone in your life that you need to forgive, do not wait any longer. Do not let pride or fear prevent you from taking this step. I am with you, ready to help you, ready to heal your wounds. When you forgive, you are doing something divine. You are reflecting my character in your lives. And I promise that as you do, you will feel a peace and freedom that you could never have imagined. And if these words touched your heart and you desire to forgive those who have hurt you, leave a comment. Lord, I choose to forgive, just as you have forgiven me. Reason 6. Wrong priorities. My beloved sons and daughters, you often find yourselves lost amidst the many tasks and responsibilities of daily life. Modern life presents you with so many demands that, if you are not careful, priorities begin to misalign, and what should be at the center of your lives, the relationship with me, starts to take a secondary place. When priorities are wrong, my voice becomes harder to hear because your focus and attention are scattered across so many other things. You were created to seek me first, for I am to be the anchor of your lives, the foundation upon which everything else is built. But when other things begin to take first place in your hearts, the connection between us weakens. Not because I have moved away, but because you have allowed other voices and concerns to become louder than mine. When priorities are out of order, you begin to feel an emptiness, a lack of direction, and my voice becomes just a whisper amidst the noise of your concerns. My precious sons and daughters, I understand the pressures you face. I know there are many responsibilities, work, family, studies, friendships, and that all these things demand time and energy. However, I call you to remember that without me, all these things become empty, devoid of real purpose. When you place other things above me, you are building your lives on an unstable foundation, and sooner or later, you will feel the consequences of that. You may feel that you are doing what is necessary, that you are prioritizing what is urgent and important, but I want you to think, what is truly most important? What is the only thing that will truly remain? I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, and everything else is temporary. When you put me first, everything else finds its proper place. When you seek my direction before anything else, I can guide you with wisdom. I can show you the way forward, and I can bless every area of your lives. If you wonder why you cannot hear my voice clearly, often the answer lies in your priorities. When you allow work, problems, ambitions, or even relationships to take first place, you are letting those things drown out my voice. And when my voice is not the first you seek, you begin to feel lost, directionless, trying to do everything by your own strength. I call you to reevaluate your priorities, to look within yourself and ask, what has taken the first place in my life? Is it the desire for success, for recognition, for financial security? Is it the constant concern with material needs? Or are they the distractions and entertainments that the world offers? None of these things, no matter how important they seem, should take the place that is rightfully mine. For I am the shepherd who guides you, and only when I am first can you clearly hear my voice saying, "This is the way, walk in it." My children, do not be deceived into thinking that you can put me in second place and still experience the fullness of my presence. I am not here to be a complement in your lives. but to be the center of them. When you adjust your priorities and put me first, something wonderful happens. The things that once seemed confusing begin to align. The decisions that once seemed difficult become clear. And what once caused you anxiety and worry begins to lose its weight, because you are trusting me to take care of all things. Remember the words I said. Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. I did not say to ignore your responsibilities or neglect your needs, but rather to put your lives in order with the right priorities. When you do this, everything else flows naturally and blessedly. You do not need to worry about the future because I am already there, preparing the way for you. If you have felt that you are struggling to hear my voice, it may be that you are trying to lead your lives on your own, without including me in your decisions and plans. When you do this, you run the risk of getting lost, of feeling overwhelmed and confused. But if you seek me first, if you let me guide your choices and direct your steps, you will hear my voice clearly, like a beacon illuminating the way in the darkness. My precious sons and daughters, the world will constantly tell you that other things are more urgent, more important. But I say there is nothing more important than being in communion with me. When you spend time in my presence, when you put me first in your hearts, I can speak to you in ways that the world never can. I can give you the peace that surpasses all understanding, the wisdom that comes from above, and the direction that will lead you to fulfill the purpose I have for each of you. I therefore call you to make an adjustment in your lives. Reevaluate your priorities. Put me first and see how things will begin to change. Do not let the demands of the world steal the place that is mine. Do not let the concerns and ambitions of this world drown out my voice, because when I am first, everything else aligns according to my perfect plan. And if these words touched your heart, and you desire to put your priorities in order, leave a comment. Lord, I choose to put you first in my life. My beloved sons and daughters, I want to thank each one of you who stayed with me until the end of this video. Your dedication and desire to hear my voice are precious to me. If you commit to identifying and working on these 6 reasons we discussed, I promise that you will begin to hear my voice more clearly and deeply in your lives. Now, don't stop here. There is more that I want to share with you. I encourage you to watch the next video that is appearing on the screen now. In it, we will continue our journey of spiritual growth. Remember, I am always with you, guiding you every step of the way. Until then, I will be waiting for you.